Stargirl, episode 7 of the second season. This episode is dedicated to Yolanda Montez as she takes center stage for the first time this entire season. Now, I love this show, and I think it's been very original and creative, and a lot of the stuff it's done, but I gotta say, as much as I like what the season has been, I think this episode felt really slow. Not that it's a bad episode, because it's not a bad episode. It's strong. It's got great stuff happening in it. There are just certain things going on in here that are just like, I don't know if this was necessary, or if the storyline has the appeal that it should. Saying all that, Yvette Montreal is really good in it. She's very solid. You feel her emotion throughout everything going on. But there's certain things where I'm like, yeah, I mean, this is the kind of thing that's very CW. Where it's like, we're going to give the side character her moment to deal with the grief that she's been experiencing throughout every part of the show. And then as that happens, it's like, what else can you do with her, really? And she'll have her moment later on. I know that for sure, but it's interesting. It's interesting to say the least. It's not the strongest part of the show. That might be a contention for some people, but it's true. It's just not the strongest thing that this show has done. It didn't work entirely the way I wanted it to. So, the premises that we've seen throughout this show is that Yolanda has been feeling kind of like bad, and these visions have been appearing in her head about the things she did to Brainwave after Henry was killed. And she's been dealing with that the whole episode. It's kind of just like, is Eclipso tormenting her in a way for the stuff that they're doing here and what she is a part of? Kind of, you could see it like that, but it's also just more like her own psychosis of being like, you did something wrong here, lady. As much as you go to church and try to talk about it, it ain't gonna help stuff. Something I felt really interesting about this episode was like, there's really like some good Catholic guilt going on. And I don't know if Yolanda's Catholic, but I was like, this is very Daredevil, where you're going to talk to the priest. You're just like, forgive me, Father, for I've sinned. I've done this bad thing. And I'm like, is hell real? Is the devil tormenting me for the actions I did? And of course, she thinks the devil is Eclipso because the devil is real. It is Eclipso. And it's just kind of fun. I guess it's kind of interesting. I'm like, wow, you would get along great with Matt Murdock just for like the amount of Catholic guilt you have weighing up inside you. That is intense, lady. It's intense. She is going through some stuff throughout this entire episode. And it's just kind of like affecting everything about her life. And you see that like the priest even calls her mom, and her mom starts to yell at her. But the priest goes, no. She doesn't need to antagonize her. She needs support. The girl's been through enough. Whatever else she's feeling, you should be there for her and try to be a supportive person. And it's just kind of like, that is the theme of the episode. We get certain other moments here which we can touch on, It's just kind of like, Mike touches the diamond shards and it kind of like affects him where he thinks there's leeches on him. We see that at the American Dream thing. Barbara kind of like just has this weird thought about Icicle again after she's like, we should liquidate all the stuff we have in storage and try to get some money out of it. It's fine. It's serviceable. It felt very much like we have to pad for time because the Yolanda storyline isn't taking up as much time as we'd like it to, which I get it. It happens in every show. Not every episode's going to be a banger. But it's just things like she goes to school, she gets distracted, she thinks she's seeing Brainwave, she thinks she's seeing Henry, getting a text from Henry. That was like, I think, a really creepy thing where it's just like, hey, can you send me a pic on like she's having like the vision of that texting coming to her, and you're just like, that's really intense and creepy. And then when she like has like the vision, when she snaps out of it, it's really scary. Something I kind of like wanted to touch on, which I think it's just like evocative of just comic book storytelling. It's just like, how would you still have your school open? Have you not seen what's going on? Like, the building was trashed. It was trashed. Why would they be going to class the next day? Even if it is summer school, they just got an incompetent teacher to show up. And he's just like, Yolanda, snap out of it, girl. What's going on? And then she leaves, and nobody does anything about it. I'm just like, you'd cancel summer school. Your teacher is missing. Your building is trashed. Why would you send these kids back to summer school? Just give them their whatever the hell grades they need to leave and then get on with it. I don't get it. It's just weird. It's just really weird. Again, there's scenes of her at the diner where she's like, there's that weird old guy who's talking creepy. Like, if there's anywhere else to eat in town, I'd go there. Just go. Like, why was this needed? This whole storyline of like Yolanda at the diner is really weird. I don't think it's needed for this story at all. I do think, though, the reason we have it is maybe because the other waitress at the diner, whose name is escaping me, she's going to become a crucial character at some point to do something. Because we focus on her a lot. We see that she's got like a sick mom. She needs to work. And she's really interested in like Yolanda being there because she likes Yolanda. So maybe at some point we're going to see there's some reason she wants Yolanda to stay there. Or she's going to have something to do later on. I don't know. It's a solid episode. It's just, there's so many other things in previous episodes I think worked better, that this one just kind of like, okay, yeah. Again, Yvette did great. She really compelled a lot of the scenes forward when she finally admits to the rest of the JSA that she killed Brainwave. You get a lot of interesting reactions. I kind of just love the way that Rick's just like, yeah, I get it. Yeah, it happens. But she kind of comes out, I'm like, why didn't you kill Solomon Grundy? He's like, well, I ran out of my hours. Like, no, you didn't. You saw him crying and cowering in fear, and you didn't want to kill an innocent being. Which is different than stuff with Yolanda, because Brainwave was a psychopath and not a big mindless brute. So there is some difference there that they could explore. But Beth's like, did you really need to kill him? Being, really, Beth, not the time nor the place to bring up this bullshit. It's not going to help anything. Read the room. Whatever the stigma is about you hating death, who cares? Get over it, girl. It ain't going to change anything. The world's still falling apart. You can't win it all. Let it ride on whatever it is. I got it. You know, Courtney's just in support of everything Yolanda's doing, her actions, but I don't know. Something about this, I was just like, I love standalone episodes that focus on a character. I think they're cool, but this one, too many familiar beats to other CW crap. You know, it's just like, she killed a person, she's feeling the weight of the guilt. They have like the whole experience where she goes into her own mind, and yes, she has to kill Brainwave again because he's like manipulating her, and he's always going to be a piece inside of her that is part of her being now. Yeah, I've seen comic books. I get it, man. And I know you love the homage, Jeff Johns, but this just didn't hit it there. You know, it just felt off. It didn't feel authentic or creative in any capacity. It felt like we had to get Yolanda to a certain spot where she no longer wants to be on the team, and the best way we could do that is with this bit. That's all it felt like to me. But, you know, it still worked. There's still some good moments in here. I did like the stuff with Mike and Pat. I thought it worked really well. Them trying to rebuild, you know, Stripe. It was kind of cool to see that stuff. And at the end, when you see Mike's kind of confessing, like, I didn't mean to kill Icicle. It just happened. I don't feel anything towards it, but it's a thing that happened to me, and it's really confusing how that existed and what's going on with that stuff. It's cool. I like it, and I see why we needed Yolanda to quit. That's an important storyline, I suppose, where she's going to have to like have her comeback or whatever. I understand the need for that. I just think, like, I get it, you know, Daredevil stuff where we're going to talk to the priest, and he's like, I forgive you, God will forgive you for whatever you've done. And she's like, I killed a man, and I have to live with that. And then we just see that the priest, yeah, it's like brain stuff. Yeah, I get it. I didn't think it was needed or necessary, but it's fine. It filled out an episode, and it did some alright stuff in that genre, so whatever works for it. We get some interesting stuff with Courtney and Cameron in this episode, too. Which, yeah, build those two up. They kind of need to have a good thing going for them, both of them, so I'm alright with that. I do believe we'll see Cameron go full Icicle Jr. at some point. I don't know when that's going to happen, but it's bound to happen whenever, wherever in the story at some point. It's fine. It's a good episode to focus on Yolanda. It gives her something to do that she hasn't really had happen this entire season, so I cannot complain about that. I think it works pretty good for that regard, but it is still just a cliched idea of what, you know, dealing with trauma is in a superhero story, when that thing that affects you is following you around everywhere. Not unrealistic. I'm sure it's realistic in some portrayals of that trauma, but in the superhero genre and in the CW genre, I will say we've seen that a million times, that it stops having the weight to it, and just made me go, okay, I see ya. I love a good Wildcat story. This just wasn't one. Sadly, that happens, but I think next week's going to be all about Rick and Solomon Grundy, and you guys know I've been championing that actor that plays Rick to be one of the best guys on the show, so I can't wait to see what's going to happen there. But as far as this episode goes, it's the weakest of the season in my opinion, but it's still good enough where I'm like, it fits in with the genre and the tropes we're seeing there. This is a weird summer, and these students should not be in school. Get them out of school. There's no reason for any of these people to still be in school. Shit is happening in that town. Why would the parents care about their summer academics? I don't know. Get them out. So that is my review of this latest episode of Stargirl. Now, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, and I will catch you in the next one. Have fun, stay safe, good luck.